So, Austral Accounting started in 1991, and we've just celebrated our 30th birthday. I joined the firm in 1997, so I feel like I'm actually old furniture, to be quite honest. We service the SMME in the Greater Durban area, if I can put it that way. So, and all our systems were always based on, we went into accounting because accounting became automated with software. I mean, in those days, it was the starting days of ACPAC and Sage and all of those softwares that was making it possible for accountants to do books on a larger scale. Otherwise you still had the old-fashioned big ledger book that you wrote everything and then you had to go balance your columns. So it was a big driving factor in those days as technology had evolved then to start an accounting practice or then to be a viable accounting practice. And a lot of those things that we started out many years ago are still in our practice today. But the change within our practice really came with all of the technology that's been developed over the last couple of years. So I mean, if you look, business was pretty stable and stagnant, and I wouldn't say stagnant, but we were on a nice base. Do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, with all of this tech that's available and these amazing tools that we've got access to, it sort of opened up the spark again. Like, shoo, look at this is amazing, and it's sort of given me a bit of a lust for business again, to be quite honest. But I'm very proud of the journey of the business and the teams that I've met and the people and the clients. I wouldn't change it for anything in the world, actually. I was saying to somebody the other day, you start out sometimes thinking that you're going into a career, as a youngster. But then at the end, you realize you found your life. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't be the same person without this thing called Austral. So I've actually loved my business, and it is like my third child. But I suppose we as entrepreneurs, because accountants are entrepreneurs as well, yes, we have technical knowledge and we went to varsity to study and did all of these things. But I mean, at heart, you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be willing to run your own business and actually get involved to an extent in your clients' business, helping them where they don't have those expertise. So I think the spark is really important, that you should still want to get up and make a difference, maybe not in the whole world's hearts and minds and whatever, but in the people that we do business with and for. It really is a very important aspect of any entrepreneur. I mean, the whole journey is actually quite scary. I mean, you don't know what you're doing half the time. I mean, employment contracts, law agreements, the accounting, it's just mind-boggling, the things that an entrepreneur is supposed to be know today. I suppose in the previous years, or I want to say back in the day, you actually received new clients through references, word of mouth. You got into a industry, let's say it was the hospitality, and you had a client, you did good work for him, and he would refer you on, and word of mouth was how we got business. But that has changed so much today. My whole thought process around that has changed. Again, I want to say with the technology that we've been getting access to, lead generation, social media, our website, all of those things are now funneling people to get to know us. and that then is helping us to get more clients and help us with the understanding their business. So we never just take on a client, though. You have to understand that part. So it really is a process, and we need to understand exactly where you trade in your space. What are your problems? Because your problem is not necessarily somebody else's problems. Do you know what I mean? You might have certain skills other people don't. So, I mean, no two businesses are ever the same. So we need to sit and get a feel for exactly those pain points, if that makes sense. Because it doesn't help that you have an accountant and we're just fulfilling a statutory deed, if that's the right thing to say. So having an accountant is actually, I want to say, sometimes it's like the business coach, the psychologist. You know, we have to understand the pressures from your household and your expectations, and there's just so much more to being an accountant today than there actually ever was 20 years ago, to be quite honest. Yes, we are. We have started looking at doing way more analysis into your business and planning, succession planning. So I have been involved in trying to help entrepreneurs with that problem, because obviously I sit in a unique space because most of my clients are now in their mid-50s. You know, they're starting to think retirement and how do they get out of their businesses. And it's a conversation that they never had at the beginning of their businesses. So I think it was a means to an end, and now the end is sort of near, and they're going, what now? And that's where we've been able to now come in. Again, I suppose it's largely because we know our clients so very well that we're able to then say, okay, this is the performance, this is what we would suggest, and we then help them to do succession planning and start implementing the handover or the handout or the sellout. Do you know what I mean? So I am finding quite a lot of enjoyment into that aspect. So we'll have to wait and see how successful it is, from the outside. You know what? I wouldn't really be able to tell you if we do anything really special or amazing, more or better than anybody else. You know, I think the world has become so much smaller, so we have to be way more competitive to keep our clients. The fact that I think that we've decided to deploy technology throughout our business to such a big extent might just be the deciding factor at the end of the day. Because if you're still sitting back and doing things like we did 20 years ago, I actually don't think we would have a business in 5 years from now, you know. So I do believe that unless we're innovative, unless we give that exceptional service or die trying, in effect, you know, there would be no business. I think accounting is going to be turned on its head, to be quite honest. I mean, we're seeing it every day. I don't know with your conversations with other practices. I think in the beginning, like I said, the technology was so slow to come out. So you sort of just went with the flow. But now these things are spinning it on its head. I don't think we'll have bookkeepers anymore. And that's an integral part of an accounting function. So I'm not saying that they'll disappear, but those people will have to reskill and upskill, and we'll have to find alternative places to put them. But just that one I want to say job title or position will be eaten by automation for sure. So I mean, their technology is coming in and zapping that, which is great. I'm not saying that it's not, but unless we know that it's on its way, you can't plan. In other words, you can't go reskill those staff or not employ a new junior. Do you know what I mean? So technology is gonna turn us still around many times, to be quite honest. So I think it will change quite dramatically from what we're talking today, to be quite honest. I think by nature accountants are planners and we deadline driven. With all our things, we're very deadline, like you can't miss a SARS deadline. So I suppose those two personality traits is helping me to change my business. So at a strategic level, at the beginning of 2019, I decided to now really implement technology to the greater of the practice. And it really has been quite difficult. And it's not from lack of trying to get information. It's the fact that you still have to run your business while you're trying to change your business, if that makes sense. Because you can't stop, go change, and then come back, because it's an ongoing bloody revolution, to be quite honest. So it is a lot of on your feet, a lot of planning, and I suppose to an extent being like a dog with a bone, because for everything that you now do, you go, that's how we used to do it. Can we do that better, faster, and more efficient? So yes, I think we can. Okay, so let's go rethink that part. So I think it's part and parcel as well, that determined factor, like we are going to change. So I mean, it's scary actually, but it's been a lot of fun though. You know, it's put some oomph back into your daily, because you actually don't know what you're going to discover today. Like, find this and then I find that, and I go, oh sheesh, now I've got like 20 million of these things, that then it becomes like, oh, what have I done? So, but I've actually really enjoyed the process. So as I don't know if you heard this, so sorry for you. I think a big part of that juggling is the fact that you need to get everybody's buy-in. So I mean, you need your staff, your team, your executives, you know, your customers, they all actually need to buy into the bigger vision that you want to create. And you know what, you could stand and shout change from the top of the roof, but unless we're not all singing from that same sheet, it's not going to happen. So I've been very lucky that I do have younger staff, if that makes sense. So I have, most of my staff are under 30 and they love technology. So it's sort of right up their alley. And I think with that innate love for these new things, they've been able to help me shift, because technically speaking, I'm the old person in the office and I'm the one that's been doing things for 25 years the same way. So it's actually far harder for me to change than for anybody else. So I actually enjoy the fact that they have come along wholeheartedly and said, yes, we agree with you. This is the way forward. So if you don't have those buy-ins from your team and customers, you know, because it also impacts the customer's life, then what's the point? That's been nice actually. I think because we've had such long relationships with our clients, we know each other very well. So they know I'm quite strong opinionated and I can be quite loud, you know what I mean? So they know me, this is me. And they've also seen all the stages of my business, you know, from the days where my partner used to arrive at their premises on a motorbike. You know, there was no car, there was no money, that's just how we ride. To now knowing that we're a bigger firm, clients, and then we take it to them, but we don't want to make your life harder, because nothing I want to do or implement or want from you must be harder. Everything must be easier for you to give us. I mean, the days of phoning people 20 times to remind them to drop off a box of slips, those days, you know, sort of come and gone, if I can say that. So now we look at each one of them and we go, how can we help you do that easier, quicker, without us following up and nagging you? Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, everything has been in consultation with our clients. You have this problem, we can do this solution. Yes, you happy? And once they understand why we're doing it, we're not doing anything for you know, just for shits and giggles, to be quite honest. We don't do that. We want to make your life easier. And I think with them understanding that nothing we want to do, it really is just to deliver a better product and a better service at the end, then they also buy in to the changes. Biggest innovation. I think AI, to be quite honest. AI automation, you know, we've got some fabulous software and pieces of tech being developed, but just generally, I think not just accountants, but I mean, the whole finance industry is under some severe threat in some sort or the other with regards to AI being implemented within their business processes. So I don't know, some see it as a threat, others don't, but I can actually still see that becoming quite a player in the accounting field. I mean, how wonderful would it be if there was a chat bot and you had a tax question and it answers it for you right there, right then? Do you know what I mean? Those kind of things will come in, I'm pretty sure of it. And it can be quite exciting, but again, if you're not ready for it, it's going to be like, why are you taking my job? So it's going to be worth it.
More as an opportunity than a threat, I think.
I think I enjoy the fact that there's all these changes. I also feel that these changes might feel like a threat in the beginning, if you know what I mean. So because it's unknown. There's been talks of this, and now all of a sudden it happens to you and it's happening to your business. So then it definitely feels like a threat, but with that does come opportunity. And the upside of that is actually quite amazing. Why do accountants, and I firmly believe that accountants work way too much, to be quite honest. Most accountants that I know are up at the crack of dawn and still working away at night, and no life and just chasing deadline after deadline. So why would AI and all of these things not actually help us lead better lives? If that makes sense. Why do we think it's amazing to work like robots? It makes no sense. We also need a life, and I think that's a deciding factor whether or not you're going to technology or not, so that you can actually have more of a life and not less. So the first answer is it never goes to plan. Never, ever, ever, ever. So I think you can plan it as well as you want. You know, a lot of time planning keeps us from actually doing. So the opposite I can say is sometimes you actually just say, I'm going to do it, and you have to go and do it and stick it through.